Hello everybody, I'm Dylan and today we're going to take a look at The Incredible True Adventure of Two Girls in Love, a film with a very long title. Released in 1995, so we're going back into the past a little bit. It is written and directed by Maggenti. It is produced by Dolly Hall, distributed by New Line Cinema, and production companies by New Line Cinema and Smash Pictures. So for the sake of this review, I'll shorten the title to Two Girls in Love. So the film starts with Randy, a tomboyish high school girl played by Laurel Holloman. Randy is teased and called names by her peers, either for her tomboyish looks or suspicions that she's a lesbian. She has a secret affair with a married older woman, Wendy, played by Maggie Moore. Well, I say older than her, like 25-30. But Randy already knows that this relationship is doomed to fail, since Wendy is married and only shows up when it's convenient for her, even if it's been weeks or months. But Randy meets Evelyn, or Evie, played by Nicole Parker, a girl from her school, and a secret passionate relationship ensues. As you would expect for two high school seniors, they keep their affair a secret, or at least try to, but it's difficult. Randy and Evie are very different. Randy, being the tomboyish, kind of obvious lesbian, is kind of the bad girl type, not being from a well-off family, living with her aunt and her lady lover in fact. Evie is more of the heteronormative type, being more effeminate, having more of a balanced family life, etc. Evie has a boyfriend, but is distant with him and decides to break up with him. She also has a clique of friends who seem to abandon her once she comes out to them. So, as the film goes, Randy and Evie try to balance their secret affair with their personal and family life, which proves to be tough. Evie is eventually caught in bed with Randy by her mom, and chaos ensues. They both run away to a hotel room to avoid the hysteria, and their relationship seems to cause problems to everyone. I like the end scene to this movie. Randy and Evie hold each other in each other's arms in front of their hysterical family and friends in an us versus them fashion. It's a pretty iconic and memorable image of this film. So, Two Girls in Love was released in 1995 to mostly positive reviews. Ironically, this film was probably the first gay-themed film I ever saw. When I was young, I was part of a gay youth support group, and they eventually put on this movie. I remember being surprised because at that time, I had never seen a portrayal of a love story between two people of the same gender, so this was all special to me. Not to say that these movies didn't exist, but being young and the internet was very freshly new back then, it was difficult to research and find gay-themed films. Plus, you didn't really think to seek them out. I've rewatched this film for this review after not seeing it for over 20 years. I'll admit I had forgotten almost everything, but I did remember the iconic scene at the end, with Randy and Evie holding each other in front of a noisy crowd of people. This must have been a groundbreaking film for the mid-90s. It shows the problems that gay youths had back then and probably still have today, being forced into obscurity with their relationships and the very judgmental people around them. The acting in this film ranges from good to a little off. One example I can give is the husband of Wendy, the older lady Randy has an affair with. He comes to Randy in rage and holds her by the neck and threatens her, but his acting isn't really believable, so it comes off as a little comical, similar to the stepdad in Sideline Secrets, but not as comically bad. And then there's Randy's gay best friend Frank, who has a Super Mario motif. This film is a love story about lesbians, written by a lesbian, so the only two males in this film do come off as comical and one note, but I don't take things too seriously. I think it's part of the fun. As for the themes, they're the typical themes you would expect from a high school gay love story. First love as the first theme. It is obvious that Randy is Evie's first love. She had a boyfriend, but she clearly wasn't in love with him. As for Randy, it's debatable if this is her first love or not. She had a secret affair with Wendy. She thought she was in love with her, but the sporadic appearances of Wendy when it was convenient for her, that wore thin for Randy after a while. She definitely feels more sparks with Evie. Homophobia is the second theme. Because Randy is tomboyish, we see her being subjected to name-calling by schoolmates, sometimes at the school, sometimes by a drive-by car. The homophobia Evie suffers is a little different, more subtle. She comes out to her friends and gives them the choice to accept it or walk off and leave, and they walk off and leave. No name-calling, but it's a silent homophobia. But to be fair, I think these friends would get over it. So I've already talked about the third theme, coming out, and facing people's reactions. It all comes to a blow at the end of the movie, which is what makes the movie's iconic final scene. As for ratings, IMDb has rated the film a 6.6 out of 10, while it holds a score of 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. The scores are surely lower now than they would have been back in the 90s. I give this film a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's an important film that was released at a good time in the mid-90s. I think it's showing its age a little bit, but not too much. It's still enjoyable and has its charm. It did take me back to the 90s. Just as Friends Forever took me back to the 80s, Two Girls in Love brought me back to the 90s. Ah, the nostalgia. So as I said, it's a bit dated. I do think there are better lesbian films that exist today, such as Blue is the Warmest Color, or even the more recent The Half of It. I also enjoyed the Netflix series Everything Sucks. It had a good build-up of a young lesbian coming out and relationship story. It's a shame the series was cancelled after its first season. So, what did you think of the incredible true adventure of Two Girls in Love? Did you enjoy it? And if you have any gay or lesbian films to recommend to me, feel free to leave a comment. Leave a like, subscribe, add me to Facebook, and I hope to see you for the next review.